At some point, we're going to have to make this a permanent loop song at some point. I'm going to have to remix this into like a permanent loop song because I think it's amazing. Problem is that it's kind of hard to do that when you got, a song that you don't have the stems for, and so you kind of have to rebuild the song from scratch. Or try your best to cut very, very cleanly in various places, which also isn't very easy to do. But let's see how it goes. Now, I do love this song though. It's such a great, peaceful song to go through, and I think it'd be great for certain segments, especially when we're programming. It'd be nice. We are now in the programming segment. Okay, so what are we doing for the programming segment? One, programming is a bit of an emotional task for me, aka it helps me get over my emotions from what happened until then. B, we're not staying on the screen. However, I need to copy the music thing over. C, what we'll be programming today is a very small snippet, and hopefully I've set a timeline of about 3 hours. This means if we don't get there, well, we lose. We simply lose at the game of development. This might be weird to say that there's a game of development, but I think it's important to have that sense of what's happening, because if you just keep working at it, believing that you have all this time, we'll never get it done. And it's important for me to get it done because we've never gotten it done before. So we're going to try to get it done now, and let's see how this goes. Obviously, it's going to be difficult to get it done all the way through, but I think it should be okay. As long as we plan it well. You may notice that I didn't do any pre-planning, so we just have to roll with this and see how far we get. I'm also too lazy to turn back on the camera, so you're just going to have to see this. It's important for all of us to get onto the same page, though. So it's very important to document this down as well, in like a bit of a design doc as well. Community version of Excalibur is now available. Okay, wait, sorry, I need to download a new plugin version. Why is there always like a newer version? And the reason why we're doing this is because I think it's important to have these things, and also it's good to like practice a little, and then we'll eventually be able to move on from it and get better at doing the later projects as well. It's a bit of practice because I'm very, very rusty. I've been developing for various projects, like, work stuff, but I don't want to, like that stuff has a very different mindset where you're mostly memorizing answers to questions that they might have, and then just choosing whichever one fits the most. Then as you go more senior, you're asking more freeform questions, which is nice. I love those because I do well on them. But it's so rare to get those because it's just an algorithm thing. It's so boring. So let's see what happens when we actually flex our brain on more, I guess, like of the fun puzzle solving stuff of a program, which is primarily about building things, that not trying to remember some esoteric knowledge, if that makes sense. Again, I understand why it's done. It makes sense when you think about it from a hiring perspective. Very easy to hire someone when you have a secret handshake, as Primogen says, that everyone knows. A very good litmus test, because you at least require a certain level of skills to like do them. I just hate doing it because it's not the fun part of it. Esoteric knowledge about algorithms is not fun for me. What I enjoy is building useful systems. That's what we're going to be doing today. Good job. Let me make sure some things are good. I don't even think my code editor works. So let's see if this happens. But I also need to make sure that everyone's on the same page with what we're going to be building. So here is the everything space. This is where everything lies in terms of our ideas. Again, why are we doing this? Well, because I have a project that I need to get done by Christmas, but I have some inkling of how I want to do it. But now the sandbox is out, I kind of want to do it within the sandbox and see if it actually works. However, there's also a game jam going on for sandbox. I'm curious if we can have it as part of the sandbox game jam to see if it would be fun to play with. Okay, it's gonna be a very simple project in terms of scale. It won't be a full experience, but it will be fun, I think, for us to have. And it might be interesting to see how far we can stretch the game's networking, especially. However, because the game jam is started and will continue all the way through August until the end of September, we only have about 3 days to do these two things. Stream Management Console, 6 base. We're going to be focusing on this, number 1. The Stream Management Console. Very important piece of this whole puzzle. It's something that I've been annoyed at for a while. You may notice that I, for instance, don't have the Spotify widget anymore. That's because it was kind of annoying to work with. the Spotify widget, despite being a very interesting tool to show you music that's playing from a Spotify, comes with a fatal flaw that adds one more window to my ever-growing list of windows on my screen that I can't easily alt-tab to, nor can I easily find in a list and like easily parse from everything else. I'm starting to get to the point where there's too many things happening and too many manual steps that I need to do to get a stream running. But what does a stream involve, right? It's very important to like write this down because these are sort of the requirements of what the stream management console must do. Well, the stream involves. I've written this down here somewhere. A couple of things. One, there's a lot of programs that need to be open at a bare minimum for me to actually get my stream setup going, which is like I have to have my DAW open, my VTube Studio for the mono, which I don't really use. OBS, well, I don't really use for now, but in the future, when the rebrand happens, I spent all night. I spent many nights writing lore, like hundreds of words of lore, like, and getting getting an idea of what this character is. Okay, I need a voice meter on, which is for my audio routing. It's why my audio sounds so interesting and why I can do so many weird things with my audio. Obsidian, because I very often do my schedule here, so I'll do my schedule here. For instance, for the last time for the Super Scout stream, I did Super Scout plus this. It can get more complex. Like I think July 23rd, 21st. No, July 23rd. Here we go. This one, when we're playing Until Then, plus these other weird like Game Boy Advance games, and I have a playlist set up, it can get very, very intense. And you can see the tree of music that I need to have. So Obsidian is very important to have open. Then we've got, oh god, can't see nothing. Oh god, water. 99% Ontario. Okay, well that was explaining the flood. Wait. Tripmaster, stream management. I need my media player, which right now is Spotify. But again, it's like you have the Spotify window plus the widget that connects to it. And it's silly because I have to connect it to an API that is silly because I'm playing the files locally. Like these are local music files. So I'm not connecting to any online service to play the music. I just happen to use the Spotify music player to play the local files for my music. It just happens to be that it has that feature and I use it, but it still has to connect to the API to pull data down from it because there's no local system to pull events from the process using IPC or something similar. IPC being inter-process communication. I need my browser, like for this morning's playthrough of the various DLEs and, the What Beats Rock game, as well as the Food Guesser game, which we all enjoyed. We'll be doing some more Food Guesser tomorrow. Every day there's a new set of food. Stream management console is hopefully going to handle all of this, right? I'm actually planning to bake in even more of what I usually have open into the stream management console. The media player, for instance, is going to be a part of this, guaranteed. So instead of it being a separate thing, I realized that there's a couple of flaws with the way that music is currently done. And I'll sort of show why it's kind of annoying. If I can sort of see where this goes. I don't know why I drew this. Why did I draw a graph? I think we were doing some algorithm stuff on this day. I'm not really sure. Did we do algorithm stuff at some point? I think we did. So why are we doing this? What is the point of the music player? And why do I want to be a part of the stream management console? Right now, music. Okay? Current day. Music is a major part of this stream because it's a major part of my life. It's a very fun part of my life. It's good. The current day, however, is very, very messy. Do current day over here. It's very, very important. The current day of music is like this. We play the music in any media player, and you just hear it, okay? Media player. And there's an audio output. This is fine. This is all manual, and I need to choose which songs to load, which is fine. But the audio output and the levels and the balance, so let's say the balance of the sound is manual. This has some implications for not just the volume of the song that we're hearing currently, but every other noise on stream that we hear. And I'll get into this in just a moment about the various solutions that I've been thinking about how to solve this with, that I think this is going to be a fine solution to work with, at least just for the sake of solving some of the problems anyways. Because I think these are two different problems, and it's also very important to recognize that these are two different problems. But also, it's similar in many regards to other problems, and it gets into this hairy nest of how do you then sync everything up, if that makes sense. So I'll get into this. So you have the current day audio player, media player, audio output. Which right now, if we play music, can you tell what song this is? If you want to hear the song yourself, can you tell what the name of the song is? No. This has no info for me to give to you except for manually, okay? Which is painful, but also easy to solve, except not really easy. It's weird that you have to get the Spotify. It's weird that Spotify is kind of the only option that really works well, but then you have to get a Spotify widget to then make it appear on screen. At the same time, you have other local media players, but when we do the audio, when we do a playlist, right? Let's say you have a playlist of the songs now. I guess this is really under the media player itself. There's going to be a bunch of songs in here, and I want smooth transitions between each song. And not every music player, for some reason, offers this. And I also kind of want a central place to manage everything. As well, this is another window that I need to manage, which is annoying. However, I don't mind not even bothering with this. I just want to see and do some discovery on if we need to do this. So we have about 3 hours. Let's see if we can get this done and see if I can figure out a good, clean solution to this that isn't too hard to implement within 3 hours, or if we need to like axe this and just focus solely on the stream management console, which is dealing with other stream update stuff, which I'll get into after this, because this is a more pressing issue in my mind. More windows to manage, so more windows to have on my desktop, more chances of mistakes happening, more ways that I can forget, okay? Balance is manual, which means that sound conflicts must be resolved manually, okay? There's multiple ways to approach this, and I'll get into, why I don't like some of them and why I do like some of them. But in general, this has a very easy solution and a very hard solution. The very easy solution, however, is also very hard to manage and upkeep over time, which is my primary cost as a streamer. Because my primary cost is not the setup as a streamer. My primary cost is maintaining it and remembering how to maintain it effectively over a long period of time. And dealing with all the interactions as well, which is very annoying. And specifically, remembering to deal and churn on and to churn them off when necessary. I'll get into this. So let's say the sound conflicts. So yeah, that. What I want to get to is this: the new way. What do I want? Effectively, current day and then goals of the system. Like, what do I want it to do? Effectively, this is weird because I'm both the client and the developer, so I'm almost mixing these two things into one, and so I have to be very careful to not be technical here. I need to be very careful to think about it from a business requirement standpoint of what I want it to do from a functional perspective versus what I want it to do from a technical perspective, because the technicality is in service of the requirements of the program, right? That's the best way to go about it, because if you don't have the requirements down and you don't know what you're building it for and what it's for and who it's for and why it's going to be alive, what you've got is a very useless thing that isn't helping anyone, and it doesn't feel good. It's not solving a problem. It's trying to find the problems to solve. So stay away from the technicality as much as I can. I want seamless transitions between songs. So that doesn't require filters like crossfade. So without crossfade. Why is this important? You may notice that these songs, they transition actually very, very nicely. Right now, you're hearing the entire cut of a playlist in one audio file. However, if it's in one audio file, I can't all of a sudden pull information from that audio file to tell you what song is currently playing. I don't think that's possible, at least as far as I could tell. MP3s themselves, can't contain metadata for when a track starts and ends based on the timing of it, because almost always you just split the tracks up by file, and each file is its own track. Okay? This is important because of another requirement. So it's weird in that these two are tied. So these two are tied together. If I can solve one, I've solved the other effectively. I want to show Or sorry, if I don't need this anymore, or I solve it a different way, then I don't really need the bottom. But it really depends. Show the name of the song. I very often get song requests or like requests on stream to tell people what the name of the song is, and it's like I don't know the name of the song. It actually like it just doesn't come up in my mind. It doesn't exist, which sucks for you as the viewer. Is like, oh, you would love to be able to have the song for yourself to play as well. Right now, there's no way to do this, and the easiest way to do this is split the song into different MP3s. But for some reason, almost every media player that I use has this problem where when it transitions to one file to the next, it almost gets into this lag where you hear this like strange gap in between the songs. Okay, on Spotify, you can kind of work around it by setting a crossfade of like 0.00001 seconds, but Spotify doesn't have an easy way to show the name of the song. So why not Spotify, right? I mean, this is for okay, well, the solutions, possible solutions. So this has to be a separate thing. I won't get into that yet. But I want to show it. I also want the audio to automatically balance, right? Auto balance the audio. What does this mean? Right now, it's a manual process, but you very often hear. Very often, when I want to fade this out, I have to hold my finger on the fader until it slowly goes down. I could not figure out a way to do audio effects that would, I guess, like keyframe over time, depending on scene transitions. At least within OBS, it didn't seem possible. It's primarily, I think, a visual tool, and that's totally fine. But it does mean that it feels more limiting when I'm trying to do audio. But I want to make sure that maybe I'm like wrong on this, so maybe we can solve that very easily. So, on the one hand, there's fade in/out audio. This is for smoother transitions between scenes and also smoother transitions between subjects. It also lets me do some very interesting things, like it changes my flow where I can update stream info, switch to the scene right into the game, and the music will slowly fade out and just get us into the moment like very nicely instead of right now where there's a weird pause in between and it's kind of quiet. I just want cleaner transitions between segments because I plan my streams like via segments anyways, and I know how I want it to happen in my head. I just can't execute it very well because every single step is a manual step that I have to do at the moment. So I'm trying to automate a lot of my current manual steps here, right? So I'm gonna fade in/out the audio between scenes. So these are goals. Okay, well, I might as well just write it down there. Why did I just do that? Between scenes. I also want to do... this is also a very important one as well. The alerts, there's going to be more of them, but only on specific screens. So this is weird. The alerts are actually on. I think actually, no, they're not on right now. I need to bring it over. There we go. The alerts are on right now for the main scene, which is this one, which is primarily for content, right? Usually it's off because I usually don't want it to interrupt content that we're doing, like the game or something. I prefer a much cleaner stream for the game itself because I think the game itself deserves the spotlight if we're playing it because there's so much information in it. And then I can just bounce off of you naturally with my voice, which is harder for me, but I find it cleaner for the stream itself and for the way that we're going about things. However, alerts can often come with noise. Okay? This means that when the alerts play, they have a certain volume that they run at. I don't want to dedicate certain levels of volume for certain things, even though that would be easier because I don't want to accidentally blow out someone's ears with an alert, right? Instead, what I want to really, really do and really hone in on is this idea of ducking. So, what is ducking? It's when one sound plays. You play one sound. When sound A plays, and sound B is like currently going, the ducking will push the volume of sound B down as sound A plays. So let's like this and then like this. This means that for the moment, while A is still alive, it gives the soundstage over to A without entirely killing B. And then you can eventually go back to, like, because an A is no longer here, it's like completely gone. So this was A, it's like silent now, completely silent. Then B will eventually rise back up once A is done. And you can have this from multiple sources, okay? What I want to have is the same system for the alerts. That way everything is normalized to the same volume. So you have my talking volume, which is always at a level that will overcome everything else. That is the goal. My talking volume should always overcome the rest of the sounds that you hear. Because ultimately, it's not to say that I'm the main content, but rather to say that I really don't want to lose information that I say because it has more importance to some degree within the live stream context compared to the content itself, right? In a pre-recorded, fully edited context, I can change the importance, the relative importance of sound, as I go through it because I have the ability to cut it and then edit each piece because it's already been recorded. I have time to do it. It's like time is paused until it's live. In a live context, I don't really have that. So I need to make some concessions about importance at all times with my voice. Obviously, this also brings in an interesting wrinkle, though. Imagine if we have background music for those moments of silence where I'm just thinking, and I sit there and I think. And very often for programming, I'll sit there and I'll think in silence. It'd be nice if the music could just go up a bit to fill in that like background noise, just to help us all sort of like zone out into like a trance. Then when I talk, I can bring it down. But then you see the problem is that now we've introduced a third source, which is we've now introduced a C, and the requirements of B needs to go up. And B needs to go down while A is still alive. C, however, can't be overpowered by anything. C is sort of like the prime voice, the prime sound source, right? And so it'll always be there. That way I can always talk. However, if I talk at the same time as A is playing, it shouldn't push B down even further. Like it shouldn't go to this level. It should stick to this level. So there's a bit of logic to how you would duck things, which gets very complicated with just 3 sources all of a sudden. And mind you, this is just adding my voice. And then when I'm not talking, let's say, if I'm not talking, so copy these over. Where'd you go? There we go. When I'm not talking, I'd want the music to go up. Because I'm currently not doing anything. So the music won't get the same level as my voice. However, it will start to fill more of the room. So where it once was here, it can fill more of the room, while my speech itself is currently in this like limbo state of I'm not really talking about anything, which is nice. Just like here. Wait, like here. There we go. Yeah, it's good. And then like the headroom is like this. It leads to this very dynamic soundscape that I think works well for this slower type of content, right? For games, obviously, games will just sort of be their own space, where the playing the game sounds with the game scene itself, and we're focusing on a specific type of content, will just have its own audio with my voice, and these two will always be a balance as so with each other for clarity on both sides, right? But for content like this, where it's a bit more laid back, more relaxed, and there's more things going on, and there's more needs and requirements in terms of the soundscaping and the sound tuning, we get more and more complicated. And this is just with 3 different sources, yeah? This is just with 3 different sources. If I can even ignore the ducking for this, but I still have this problem of, making ducking work at least between these 2 sources. And right now, it's only 2. In the future, for other stream ideas and other stream additions that will come eventually, think like TTS, for instance. What happens if you have TTS? Well, conceptually, it's separate from the source for alerts, because my alerts right now, I make them within Twitch alerts. But if I want TTS, they don't really come through Twitch alerts. It's actually a whole different thing. So what do? Well, I have to bring in as a separate source, And I would like to use a TTS service that allows you to do a lot of custom voices. Imagine all of you start using Sherlock Holmes voices. That would be funny. Problem is, you've now got this problem where you go back to three different sources. How do you balance between them? There's a clear hierarchy in them, but how do you now program that within within some interface, some clients that can handle manipulating these sound sources? This audio automation, effectively, right? If you're used to what DAWs usually do, it's like, effect automation, effectively. Well, no worries. So we got there's noise. What I want to do is do automatic ducking to balance these things between sources. So ducking between sources. And what's nice about this is that the hierarchy of audio sources has a clear order to it, because it's not going to be random noises that come out of nowhere. It's not like a dynamic game that dynamically makes sound like sound files out of thin air, right? It's not to that level. Even for a game that has a lot of sound effects, you even have a hierarchy that you can follow, and therefore, this is very much the same way. For the stream, I have a specific hierarchy of voice to game to music to alerts. I mean, to voice to game to alerts to music and then to silence. So this is a stable order that we can do. Okay, but that's a technical thing. Put the technical over here. So I want to do ducking between sources, because these are just business requirements, like alerts, my voice, and music. And this is 3 different rule sets, which the flow is kind of like this. And I should probably put it in like a hierarchy, just so it's very, very clear. From top to bottom, what's the most important stuff, right? And the game might even have noises, but it might not even be like necessarily important. Like we might even have games that we play alongside these things. For instance, the things that we did today, like the DLEs, or like Food Guesser, or like What Beats Rock, stuff like that. There's some game types that can actually be a part of this as well. That will have to respect these rules too. So even sometimes the game itself will have to be a part of this ducking logic. Now, what do you do? Well, there's a problem. I never want to duck between my voice. I need to draw like a map, like a very good arrow map that says like what ducks what. So the arrows will point to what ducks what. My voice will duck the music. It won't duck the alert, I don't think. The alerts will duck the music. Actually, no, the game... I think the game will just be at a set volume, and I'll just adjust it as is towards something. This makes it a lot easier. There's a fly. Sorry, there was a fly trying to climb into my mic. I'm going to end you, fly. One time, a long time ago, fly fell right into my bowl of soup. And I was like, "Aww." Like, son of a gun, I just got the soup and it flew right in. So, voice, music. That's the flow that I want. It's a one-way flow, effectively. But it's going to be weird to automate these two and to see how it goes. And then this will get more complicated. Let's say if I want to add in... Actually, no, I should add in TTS now. Because I know for sure these are 2 separate platforms, and so it's going to be interesting to modify them to make them work well. Because it would suck if you pay for TTS, which is unfortunate that you have to pay, but it's also the reality that I can't just let you have it for free, because some of you are going to abuse it very, very hard. For like everything. So TTS, for instance. Oops. But it sucks. But then it sucks if you pay for TTS, and then I don't even hear your TTS. And sure, I can look at the log, but it's way funnier to react live to the voice, because then it's like, oh, funny, because we all hear the same voice, right? Then this would have to kind of duck the music, but then how do we then... Which one is more important, TTS or alerts? Realistically, there's another thing that I need to do about this as well, that I kind of forgot about this, actually. Right now, the current state of things is every sound all at once. Everything, everywhere. You're going to love this reference. All at once. Right now, there's no way for me to queue things such that I can have TTS that won't run over an alert. Okay? Because it would suck to miss out on either or if you're the person who did something to achieve that effectively, right? Sorry, as I mentioned, I will be eating as we plan this through. We have about 3 hours, so 2.5 hours. But right now, there's no way for me to queue it up. These disparate systems all kind of flow through all at the same time. Music is fine to have everything everywhere all at once, because we just duck it down. These two are sorry. These two, however, TTS and alerts with noise, need to be exclusive of one another and must run one at a time. If I go like this, if I draw a box around it, this is okay. Now it's getting a bit more complicated. So this is why it's kind of annoying to deal with my current setup, because future plans that I want to add is going to make this way more complicated. So I need to make sure that these are exclusive with one another. What's the symbol for exclusivity again? It was or, right? Yeah. Oh, sorry, spice. And this is all in a queue, so FAFO queue. So like, wait, is it LAFO? FIFO? FIFO. First in, first out. Yeah. First in, first out. And they'll play sequentially. It's why I can then do this. So instead of two different arrows, realistically, if I combine them together, and I guarantee that both of them won't run at the same time, what I then get is this, where this will just duck the music. For streams like this, where it's just us talking, right? Or even during the just chatting segment, this is then good because then we never miss anything, which is great. You get your money's worth effectively. If you happen to spend money, but again, please remember I make six figures, so please don't do it if you don't want to. Take care of yourself first. That's more important to me. So I think this is good. This sort of explains why I need a bit more complex setup that I think we should program versus the various solutions that are available. So let's look at the solutions now, okay? Because there's a lot of solutions to these problems that I'm sure most of you are thinking about right away. At least that I've thought about as well. So name of song. So there's 3 different types of problems, okay? So let's see name of song. Name of song. Let's say I want to program the name, like let's say I want to show the name of the song. What solutions do I have? Third party widgets. I don't care that they're third party. It's a bit scary because third party does imply, it's a security risk and there's this whole idea of vendoring. But the more that you bring on, the more maintenance work and costs that you have to incur. And that can grow to the point of unsustainability to where you basically get zero return out of it. So third party widget to display the currently played song. However, what does it mean to display the name of the currently displayed song? Well, it has to get at least the name of the song. So the name of track. This is very interestingly complicated because files and music playing is not a standard experience. There's no, I don't think, standard API for playing music within the context of your desktop, of your like operating system. There is for web, but even on web, all you can really know is whether a sound is playing. The information of the song is almost locked away from you, which is also very odd. Every single website can decide how to surface that on their own. But you just know whether or not songs are playing. And I don't even know if all browsers support that feature. I just know it's possible, at least within, I think, Firefox or Chrome, to get information about which tab is playing music. And that's really it. And then, that's how it does the like mute button in like, say Firefox, right? To say like, oh, this tab is playing music, mute it. This is going to be, on some level, either the file name of the file, which is a very cheap, easy way of doing it. It's very easy to do. There's no need to mess with any weird format-specific things, and I'll get into why that's important. Or, so file name sans extension. So what the file type? Well, sans type. I'll just say type. I think colloquially, this is more easier to understand from a business perspective, or you do metadata on the file itself. This is a more complicated bit because I don't know if every format has the same metadata that you can attach to it. Okay, there's many different types of formats. This is fine, I know, for MP3s, but what if it's an MP4? I know it's weird to use an MP4 or slash an M4A. Sorry, I know it's weird to use an MP4 because it's the video portion, the M4V as well as the M4A, which is the audio. But sometimes I'm lazy to convert. This is more of a time saver thing. But still, what happens if it's M4A? Specifically just the audio. What do I do then? Does this support metadata? Does FLAC support metadata? Sometimes I'll get sound files that are in this format too. I might even, export in WAV, which I know for sure has it. But does OGG? You see where it gets complicated, right? You then need to figure out from the production side, my side, from the streaming side, the management side, what songs actually work, what files format should be used. You then run into this problem where you have to convert files across, and that can take time and effort, and you lose this. There's always something lost in the process, and you don't really know what's lost. There's no way to guarantee that the quality is the same. No way to guarantee that you haven't accidentally done some irreparable change. It's no way to guarantee that you can keep both files at the same time. Say you want to keep the original for converting purposes. For some later project, well, now you have double copies of a file, right? Presumably, we can ignore all of this. We're doing this all within a browser. The browser can just play any of these valid file formats. And so we have all of this noise that we can work with, which is great. We can also ignore the metadata entirely and just strip the file name up until the type of it, like the extension, to get the name of the song. So, e.g., right now, let's say arcade mode race 2. So name, so song name. We convert these to space. Any underscores, then we convert to space. If it has underscores, otherwise we just keep it. Actually, no, maybe don't convert anything. Because what if it's a stylistic choice that the song? A lot of artists do name their songs interesting ways, so we won't do any conversions. It'll be even simpler. We just discard the extension, whatever it is. So let's say MP3 in this case, /OGG / etc. We can take this whole piece, cut it off, and get rid of it. And what we're left with is the good file name. Very simple. Way easier than trying to figure out which format carries metadata in it, how to access that metadata in the file, how to then, you know what I mean? It's way harder to determine this versus that. Whereas we know we can get the file name because we need to anyways in order to load the file. We have it there at the moment. We can just reuse that same bit of data instead of trying to load more, which is nice. There's probably some micro optimization here where you have less floating around that you have to load as well in memory. But that's so micro that I don't even bother, right? It's like a micro penis. You really don't care. Also, sorry, let me respond to something. Oh shit, I forgot to do something actually. Wait. Anyways, yeah. So we'll do this. So name in a song. This then must be surfaced somewhere. So I need to surface this somewhere, right? It has to be surfaced on screen. It must be a window that I can show that will be a part of my overall overlay, which is a problem because right now I have various sources and they all conflict in terms of priority, and it's very hard to keep it clear about when I want to show certain things. But that's more of a static order that doesn't change. So I don't mind if the order itself is complicated to resolve initially, because I don't maintain that level of complexity with the order. Except sometimes I need to hide everything all at once, all the overlays or some parts of the overlays. There's a bit of grouping that I have to do, but that's also a non-problem, so it's fine. Either way, though, this has to come from something, okay? So we need the name of the song. Third-party widget could do all of this for us, in which case we would only have to deal with it when we make our own thing. So let me drag this all separately now. Oh god, I hate when you write text too close. So there we go. So a third-party widget could handle all this for us, in which case we would just ignore it. But what audio players can do this? Well, you have Spotify, and this has a lot of integrations with the various things. What I don't like is that you must connect to the API to API for a local concern. For local concern. This is painful because I really, really don't want to handle authentication and sharing information with a third-party application, even if it's done through OAuth, and so I know what it's asking for. The minimum that it has to ask for is your name, the name of your account, which is very stupid. It's very silly that like that is the default for all OAuth. At least on Spotify side, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I'm like, I don't want to then have to dig through and fix the thing to make it better. Like, although maybe we could just put a patch to it, and then we'll see how it goes, right? But at least right now, I have two accounts: one for streaming, which is one that you're listening to right now, as well as one for myself that I have all of my actual liked songs on, which is nice because then I can pull out any song at any moment. Obviously, I don't want my name to leak. As you can imagine, this is why I do things under a weird assumed name. Even though the assumed name is going to change, you'll never find me by my real name. You can still follow me as long as you're following my account. But doing it like this means I have to potential leakage. Potential personal information leakage. Not from a typical security standpoint of, oh no, they have my Spotify account. From a purely managing expectations and managing the audience and managing my personal and public image personas, that's what I care about. I'm doing this in a way that's very privacy aware, so that this is a potential problem where this could absolutely leak something, which is scary. Well, let's see. So Spotify can do that, and I think that's really it. There's like other music players. I can also do like any media player. Any media player, but I crop it. So I crop it so that it only shows the portion with the song name, which is also a potential solution. Okay, so we could actually avoid development of this as a whole, because then every media player, whether it's Spotify or VLC. I don't really like using VLC for audio, or what's the other one? There's like a bunch of them actually. Winamp. I mean, Winamp is still going strong, and that thing has some crazy cool skins. The skins are pretty good. Which, by the way, did you know that Winamp, that like the company or the team that made it, it was basically made by like two dudes. They made a company, then they sold to AOL for $80 million for a music player. Nuts. But yeah, so we could use anything. Could be Winamp, whatever, and then just crop the window, right? Right. This then allows us to use Spotify as well without API access, Winamp, etc. Without having to worry about leaking information, which is nice. The reason why I don't like this still is because there's a separate window that I need to manage, but if that's easier and it can reduce our development effort, and we can get rid of the entire music feature, then I'm totally fine. This is more about discovery of like what possible solutions are there. However, it still doesn't really solve our problem of ducking. So this is for name of the song. This is one piece of the problem, which has solutions, and then we can go custom afterwards. So also go custom. Custom local browser page. And obviously, I'm using a browser source, which is like, oh, you're using Electron for like everything. It's like that same criticism. But listen, they spent a long time making very good APIs in my browser, and it's already open anyways to play like shitty DLE games and to have like information there and to handle stream stuff, so you might as well just have it there for the audio too, right? So we can do this. This really depends on what's going to happen afterwards for the rest of the problems. Because if the rest of the problems we can solve in other trivial ways as well, then we don't even need this because we have the local solutions, which is just cropping. Which is we don't even have to build the audio section, but I just want to make sure that that's true. A lot of business requirement stuff. That's good. Do that, and let me check. The other problem that I need to have, or the other goal of this that I want to do is the auto balancing of the songs. Well, seamless transitions too, but that's also like a technical thing. So actually, we'll do both. Seamless transitions. Great, so that's a good section here, as well as balancing. It's going to be very, very important, I think. The audio balancing is going to be very important. But seamless transitions are an interesting problem to deal with because of what they are. Basically, no gap between songs. By Spotify, without the crossfade feature, by default, does not load the next song as it plays. It just has this weird gap in between, and it leads to this weird empty space where there's no noise, which is strange because it breaks the flow of certain playlists. And again, very often we'll have songs that were mixed as part of a playlist that I simply chop up to give you the name of, which is again because it's so easy to get the name just by the file name for every one of these players, except for maybe these media players that can then pull it from the metadata. But even then, managing metadata beforehand for me is a bit of a one-time cost, so it's not that bad either. But if I do have to go manual, then it's important to recognize that this will be a problem, okay? So no gap between songs, because they might be mixed specifically to be played one after the other, which is very, very important. Spotify, most players need crossfade to do this, but even with it, you run into the problem where many of them can't be configured low enough. So not small enough to be unnoticeable. To be unnoticeable. If you measured actually when the song switches within right now, the songs that we're playing, you would notice it be off by like 3 milliseconds, which doesn't really matter. Again, it really doesn't matter. But a lot of these implementations of a crossfade do not let you go to such low amounts. Spotify, surprisingly, does this very, very well. So, except Spotify. Spotify is actually a very good music player. So I really want to try to keep it if I can. Let's see if we even need this audio portion to make sure that I'm really on the right track here. You never want to build something that you don't need. Design docs are very important. At least just to get a good sense of what you're doing first. Oh, sorry. Solution documents, or whatever they're called. Discovery work, R&D, not sure. I guess it really depends on your industry and like what you would call it. Okay. Only really important if we need to have our own songs. Otherwise, what we'd have to do is implement crossfade itself. So if custom, but not even implement crossfade, what I would like to do is implement perfect start-stop like steps. Implement perfect start-stop. And obviously this will be a bit subjective. This is because the way that audio files work and the way that every audio track is a different rate when it plays. It's going to sound kind of weird, I think. We go for the naive approach, which is like inspecting the audio file. Whereas I think it's possible by just looking at, okay, right when song stops, play next song, which is preloaded, and the next song is preloaded. Preload next near end of current. And then you get into this situation where it should be possible for you to play it right at that moment. But again, this is very iffy because I don't know if you can like preload the audio file entirely and if that's going to cause any issues, but it should be fine. I've done it before, so I think it should be okay. But I just don't remember how. Usually, an audio player is like Babby's first project, so hopefully my Babby experience can come through. I can remember. The other important part is audio ducking. There's multiple solutions for this. Okay, this is the one this is the linchpin to whether or not we need the rest of this, if that makes sense. Because if I don't need this, right? If I don't need the like, if I can do the balancing in OBS in a very easy way, and I don't mind the maintenance cost, which I'm gonna figure out how much it is right now, then I can ignore this and this and just use Spotify, which has the features of both, and then just do the crop, which then gets rid of the potential PI leakage. Then I can just have it all there, except for when, you know, it's weird when you resize windows. So weird on resize. Weird on resize. In a way, I want to define a clear region that it can go to versus cropping it, but that's, you know, that's a pipe dream. Balancing. Audio ducking. Down here. 2 solutions. OBS. You can implement this naturally in OBS. I forget exactly how, so might as well look at it now. OBS ducking. Audio ducking. Orange Juice Liberation Front. What the fuck is this website? Huh? What? Orange Juice Liberation Front. Uli Witness. My streaming setup. They're a streamer? A filthy casual software developer proudly nerds about games while playing them. Check out this Mass Effect Andromeda stream from 12 hours ago. Uli, I love that your website is called the Orange Juice Liberation Front. But what does that mean? What does that mean? What? YouTube. That's not some weird thing, is it? That's not some weird, like, I don't know, like dog whistle of some kind, right? No? Huh. Fascinating website. Well, thank you for the tutorial on audio ducking. I'm not going to show it just in case, because I don't really know what's going to happen on this as I read it. So, but this is a good example of like what happens when you want to, I guess, like, have silence in your stream and then just have the music almost take over and like build the soundscape. So let's see how this goes. Anyway, so here, audio ducking. You can do it from the compressor filter. Yes, I remember. I remember now. Yeah, and you can set the sidechain source. Okay, so you in OBS, you can do the compressor, and then set a sidechain source plus sidechain source. / plus sidechain source. And then you can configure the filter. Yep, there you go. And then you can set the ratio to push it down as you need. So it's a fairly easy way of doing it, because then you have this thing where, because there's a set order of things and there's a set source for these things, like the music and like stuff. It's very easy to then do the audio ducking to push this thing down. So I can just probably do it all through OBS. However, what does it look like from a maintenance cost? So let's actually like go through this a bit, because I'm curious to see if it's actually worth it. Because then we could just stay within Spotify and then we can do the rest of the stream management console very, very easily, because it's just a couple of API calls, and then I have to do the OAuth off stream because I don't want to leak my OAuth key. That would be like a major disaster. So also because I actually have to go very soon, I didn't realize it was so late. So unfortunately, I started late. We have about half an hour left. Okay, so we go through this. Yeah, okay, so we do this, do that. Yeah, so we do this, do that, and then we do, okay. So let's see what happens if we try to do this side chain ducking source. So we have not the game. We have the voice here. We have music, three different sources: music, and we have alerts slash TTS. So alerts slash TTS. This is interesting because, again, it's all a one-way flow of what they affect. So they will always affect. My voice will always overpower. So the only thing I need to care about is within the music, how does it go up and down? So there's a one-way. The voice in music has like a two-way flow, which is weird because, again, in those moments of silence, I'd want my music to overcome a tiny bit. So this goes this way, as well as this goes this way. So when I talk, lower the music. When I'm not talking, bring the music up a bit. Then alerts and stuff would then just bring down the music one way. It would always overpower the music down to the ducking levels below. Problem is, how do you then handle the situation where both happens at the same time? Does the music go to nil? Like, how do I actually do this in a way that doesn't force the music to become nothingness? Which would be weird. If I do a compressor and I don't apply it, sorry. How do I do two different sources for the sidechain ducking that brings it down to the same level without affecting the effects of the other compressor? Because if you add two, because the way that the effects chain works is that if you add the effect onto it, and there's another effect that does the exact same thing, it'll apply based on the results of the previous effect in the chain, because that's a whole chain of effects that you run sequentially. There's no way to run them as an either or and with very complex conditions, at least through OBS alone in terms of automation. Because what I don't want to happen is I'm talking and then an alert kicks in. Because what happens is that when I talk, the music will be down to here. Let's say, well, the music will be down to like here, right? And then when the alert plays, the music will then get pushed down again based on the previous compressed value to here. And then when I stop talking, it'll go back up to the red. Because then when I stop talking, it will just take over and then it will become green after. So like one of the compressors will turn off and then all of a sudden there's only one compressor active. And then it'll go back to the original value if they have the exact same settings. It's gonna sound weird because the music will almost sound wobbly, which is not what I want. Yeah, it's very important to have that because I really don't want it to overpower me, like fully. However, maybe it's more fair to say that. Actually, no, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna end up like that. Actually, yeah. Also, instead of a blue arrow, just to make it clear that it's a two-way. If this makes sense, so it's gonna have to be done as like a two-way, bi-directional. It'll be two separate compressors on like both different sources. Actually, wait, no. It'll be the same. No, yeah, it'll all be done as a compressor onto the music side. Oh yeah, because my voice would never get compressed. The thing that gets compressed is the music always. So the compressor would two compressors would be on the music side. That's a bit of an edge. That's an edge case, which is annoying. But is it killer for the stream? Basically, can I live with it, and then can I make this a lot simpler in terms of the design, and then we can finish it tomorrow in like an hour, right? Let's say, because I only have about half an hour left. Well, maybe like 25 minutes, really. Yes and no. It's about how much quality do I care to lose? Do I care about this like weird wobbly space? Probably not, and it's probably fine to just have as a wobbly space, which should be okay. So if I do it through OBS, that's simple, and I can just live with the fact that it is what it is now, and stick with the cropping, which means the stream management console can be very simple for now. Okay, I think I'll do it like that. Eventually, though, I'm going to need to be much smarter about how I do this, because I want it to duck the audio source based on both of these at the same time, and I want the condition to be an and, effectively. So in the future, if we go custom, so duck on voice and duck on voice and alerts. Which again, this is kind of like a very simplified state of alerts because truthfully, right now they're two different sources. So, right now, to keep it simple, unless we like bake alerts into the stream management console, which is gonna have to go through some discovery, you'd have to do like alerts and TTS, which are two separate boxes. Which means this thing would have 3 compressors at the moment to get a good effect. Which means you get triple stacking. Oh god, you'd get triple stacking of compressors, which would then push down the ratio even more. So you get even more weird bits of space. We'll try it. We'll see how bad the quality is for longer streams like this programming stream, and then we'll see how it goes, I think. So duck and voice and alerts. Plus and TTS. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. It's not the best solution, but it's also not the worst thing ever. I can live with a bit of wobbliness as long as it's okay. It just sounds very, very weird to your ears, and if it sounds too weird, it's gonna ruin the vibe. So let's figure out how this goes. I can probably skip that, which means we still need to build the rest of this actually stream management console, which is the multi-streaming side, as well as potentially combining the alerts as well as the TTS into one. So the multi-streaming side, we know what we need. But I'm going to expand it a bit more over here because it's kind of like bare. So what we need to do is... Actually, no, we have it here. So we need the title for YouTube. We just see both chats. However, I will only respond to Twitch chat, so it's important for me to know. But this is mainly for moderation purposes, as well as I can set the category of the game and like update what we're doing at any moment based on both the platforms from one box, so I don't have to like copy information over as best as I can, right? Title, I'm assuming, is easy, but let's see what options we have. So YouTube, right now, I know the Twitch API supports all of this. So is there an equivalent in the YouTube API for all of this? YouTube API live streams. I actually have no clue. Presumably, live streams are the same as videos, so there's no real difference between them. Because the live event itself is primarily about the surfacing the video as a live stream versus having the video and like manipulating the video stream itself, or rather versus manipulating the video metadata, which is combined with the rest of your videos in your list. So should be okay. But let's see, what does the API for YouTube have? I can't show this to you because it has my Google account, so it's kind of hard. You can get information about the live stream. There's a bunch of resources. Information about the live broadcast, which is an extension of the video resource. You can use the YouTube data API to update metadata about the video itself, which is like the recording location or the region. So YouTube data API is what we need. Google for developers. Okay, how about you give me the documentation? I'm begging you. API reference. Thank you. Calling the API, you must specify an API key or provide an OAuth2 token. Probably gonna get an OAuth2 token. It'd be terrible to lose my API key for whatever reason. And OAuth is much easier to revoke, and also easier to scope. API keys, maybe, I don't know. I remember API keys for YouTube a long time ago were annoying to have because the scope was very, very massive. It's why they had OAuth, because OAuth theoretically allows you to scope permissions down. But also theoretically, if they did it for OAuth, they probably did it for the API key too. So who really knows? However, I hate working with the Google developer console, and I hate having the API key owned by a particular account versus my OAuth and just connecting it to the account that's currently going to do the live stream, which is way easier, way more simplistic. From a security key management scenario, you'll have to store the key, basically. Like you store the response token and you keep that, but you don't need to then sync it up with some other external interface. It all happens as part of the OAuth flow from your client side, which is handy. And you just have to have a server to implement the OAuth server to handle the responses. We should be okay. Yeah. Okay. No need to manually sync, effectively, is what I'm trying to say. It's all an automatic process, which is way easier. automatic barring you can implement stuff. So also means I can eventually open source this and allow other people to use it if they really want to, but I don't think anyone will. It's very specific to my wants for my show. So okay, so yeah, we'll use OAuth, which is fine. So this would need so at least it would have to handle OAuth. Where's the management console? Shit. You have to handle authentication. So auth, which is like OAuth seems fine for everything, so it should be okay. I can use OAuth for Twitch as well, so I know for sure that the API allows it, so it should be okay. I have my server, my VPS up and running anyway, so it's fine. Now, how do we update at least the video category and what game it is? Guide categories? Okay, guide categories are only available for the YouTube side. That's very weird. What? YouTube channel that created the what? Video categories. Here we go. A video category represents identifies a category that has been or could be associated with the uploaded videos. Well, to update the video's metadata, I can do a put request. Idempotency. And I can update any particular part. So I have to specify what part names I'm going to update. So it could be live streaming details, which is nice. I can actually do that as part of the live stream itself. Because the live stream name I don't think is the same as the video name. I really can. There's a weird way that it does the split that is very hard to understand, but I think they're both separate from each other or they're the same. I really couldn't tell. Content details. What else? Content details. Category ID. What are the values? Provide a video resource in the request body. Here we go. This is the whole resource. Resource representation. Obviously, you can't see this, but here you can get a snippet of what we're doing here. And then it's like a whole list of this, and just keeps on going. Category ID. So what's the category ID? The YouTube video category set up by this. How do you set the game? I want to set the game of a category. If I'm on the game category, how do I set it? I guess that's a very specific one, huh? I don't really see an obvious way to set like what's the subcategory of a category. Category ID. You call the videos update method, and you're updating the snippet part. So that's the snippet part of the video resource. Okay, so that's simple. But how do you update the game of it? I can set the localized video stuff through the API, but not through the UI because the UI hasn't opened up to me. Am I allowed to get access to that beta feature that's only available for like MrBeast, but immediately? That could be interesting. Definition, ACB reading, rating. What? No, we don't care about ratings. Oh God, there's so many different ones for ratings. Jesus Christ, that's a very very like the rating system. So like TV ratings, like ratings for your specific TV commercial. Like say like you have to set something for Sweden. If you make a video and it's primarily marketed towards the Swedish audience, and it needs to follow broadcast guidelines. You would then need to set the ratings details of it for the Swedish Media Board, or like council. This is only really necessary for things like the Olympics or news. Otherwise, online videos are kind of a free-for-all that fall under apparently a different category of like just general internet content. At least within most jurisdictions. I know. Privacy status, publish ad. Privacy status would be nice, but actually privacy status is also very important because right now when the stream ends, I need to delete the video manually. Like the live stream video off of YouTube because it's a copyright landmine because they have no VOD track, so I just killed the entire thing. No clue if YouTube doesn't subject live streams to it, but it feels like they do, so just in case. Declared made for kids, no. Embed HTML comment count, no. I don't care about comments or likes or anything. How the hell do you set the game category? YouTube video API set game category. Again, I really just want to set the game category. How to get YouTube video games category and set it to a broadcast. There we go. Wait. No answers. Oh my god. Wait, what? In the YouTube API help section, it says that I need to ask the questions on Stack Overflow. What the fuck? You're kidding me, right? What? What happened to Google Forms? Is it gone? I feel like that's fine. What? Hmm. Okay, no one knows how to set up a video game ID. No, there is not any supported way to do this. A friend of mine used to use the SAP ISID hash method, and that was working like a charm. Maybe a day they will open this for everyone. What is the SAPIS ID hash method? YouTube API. What's this? Why does it say SAPIS? Oh my god. So there's no way. Wait a minute. Videos.php. What is this? What the hell is this? YouTube Operational API. Works when the YouTube Data API fails. What? What does that mean? When the API fails, the service works? That doesn't make any sense at all. Unless you mean like just from a thing perspective. What is a SAPIS ID hash? And how would you do this with a SAPIS ID hash? Isn't that just like an authorization thing? What? So there's no way for you to set the game category on YouTube. That feels stupid? No, that feels really dumb. What? Automatic? Like you can't do it through an API. What? Okay, well we'll still have to do things like when you delete the VOD. So I can do this. I can check when the stream ends. I can set the category to gaming, but not the game. I can do the title as well of the thing because it's a video title, so it should be okay. I see what's inside the put update, and then if I want to do the category, I think it was what service or something extra. When the stream starts, I need to handle the live stream chat. So YouTube live chat API. Because I do need to pin a message immediately that the chat is unmonitored and I don't care about you, which would be nice to have. List. I can add a message to live chat, but can I pin it? Pin. Is there a way to see pin? Live. YouTube live. Live API pin message. I guess you can't do the pinning either. Okay, well, so kind of can send, must manually pin. Okay, that's fine. You can send a message, but you have to manually pin it. But that's okay because I can maybe see both chats during game update game category. No way. That's fine. So it will be a generic category. But can I then see both chats? Like YouTube, live chat live chat embed is an embed for the live chat. YouTube disabled the feature to embed the live chat on external websites. Chat embedding works now. What? 2020 embedding YouTube chat in the external website seems to be working again. You must include the embed domain in the URL query parameter in the embed iframe URL. Oh, right. Yeah, because you need to tell them where you're embedding it and why. So embed. The live chat, here we go. Embed live chat. We actually have a direct link, which is handy. So I can just put this in like text. See both chats. Yes, we can go over there. It's fine. It's good. Nice. That's very, very nice. Yes. Nice. So we can do that. Okay, so I can embed the live chat. I can then do the pinning from there manually. When the stream ends, I can delete the VOD. This is all good automation to save me fingers, which is nice. Saves me finger presses. I can embed the Twitch alert system into it as well. Problem is, can I get the queue of alerts? Twitch alert API. Twitch API reference. Here we go. Alert. What is the alert? Shit, what's the alert API? Notifications. What? Event sub. An event occurs for one of your subscriptions. What? Oh, well, it's not just subscriptions. Oh, but who you subscribe to. What? Using an API for notifications. You would need to periodically get polls. We would use event sub. No, that's not that. How can we set alerts with the API? Here we go. There is no API to trigger the first-party alert system. Which alerts? Huh. That's annoying. So there's no API to handle the alert system on Twitch, which means I can't queue it up, which means I'd have 4 sources, which then leads to this issue of OBS being hard because then you have 3 different compressors doing sidechain stuff across like multiple things, which means you'd have a huge pain in the ass when you need to do all of this in one go. Oh god, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with like too many compressors all together in one. I'd like to have these 2 in the same queue so that an alert doesn't accidentally run when a TTS runs, and then you get like a conflict of like noise. Especially because some of our alerts are funny, like genuinely funny, and I think that they're good to see. Like oiling up is hilarious to me. For instance, if I do oil up here, where is it? Where is it? Here we go. Beagle Actual. And I do, what's it called again? Channel points. Oil up. And this is a great example of what happens when it doesn't duck the music audio. Which means that you can't really hear anything when it does do the whole readout, right? Which sucks. Or say the subscription one, which I find hilarious. And you just get like carrots. But this is a great example of the problem now where you need the audio ducking to make it work. Otherwise, it's very hard to tell what's going on. And also why you can't conflict with TTS when it does run, because then you have like 2 TTSs running at the same time. And I want like a very free-form TTS that isn't abusable through channel points. But I don't know how to do it through, well, I can do it through bits and stuff, which is probably, actually, we could do it through a cheering. But then there's only so many voices. Like, I want the funny voices from Monster TTS. Because there's so many funny voices from Monster TTS. Like, Optimus Prime, Stormtrooper Squidward, SpongeBob. And I think you can add your own as well. Like, you can add your own voices of eventually, I think, through the developer thing, so... I think. This is a conundrum for this problem. If there's no API for the alerts, I may just have to reprogram and build an alert system myself. Which would mean, I mean, this one's easy to plan out because I know exactly what to do for it. So maybe we do like our own alert system. The first party alert system, which is very nice for like drag and drop. We can't see the queue of it, and we can't queue it behind other such stream things, which would be nice, okay? Because then there's going to be more events where we have a lot of things happening on the screen. So it would be nice to have this queued up so that nobody misses anything. Right now, it's fine because nobody really uses it. But I imagine that more and more use is going to cause a lot of problems. So alerts, custom system, so custom... And then it's just a browser source, so it's just a browser source. You just subscribe to it with OAuth, and then you just pull down the various stuff, and then you're good to go. Like it's basic. You just react to it, you react to it. You like you publish events, and then you just do the thing that it does now. It's easy. No need to really think about it, but it is more to build. So now we have to build this too. Okay. So if I want to have a queue for TTS and alerts, I need to build it myself because Twitch's alert system doesn't have first-party support for queuing, it has built-in support for queuing within itself, but not to manage the queue amongst other systems that need to interact on the overlay layer, which is annoying. Oh boy, that's very annoying. All right, so we're gonna figure out how to do this. Okay, so that we do it like that. We can still do the music like this, which is fine. But if we don't do it like that, we're gonna have a hell of a time doing all these various compressors. But if we can implement the alert system, we can then get rid of one compressor and then just to go down to like times two, and then it's gonna be okay for the audio until we fix it. Plus, we get more control over this. We can do some funnier things with it. I think it's a lot better just in general for how it's going to work. The only thing that we lose then is the celebrations that are as like a part of the chat, but I hate it. It messes up the like chat. It makes everyone's window look all weird, so it's fine. And these only really come into play in certain segments anyway, so it's okay. Okay. Well, I gotta go. So unfortunately, today we'll have to be cut short. Again, it's because I started late, but we have a good plan to go with. I know what to build now, which is the alerts. We're gonna do the OAuth. I'll set up the OAuth server beforehand so we can actually do like a live test. And then I'll do it in such a way that it doesn't leak anything, I don't think. But either way, I can also set up like a mock server locally, so it doesn't really matter. And then I can just do things from there and make this work, and it should be okay. And then we can see how it kind of works when it goes against API mocks, and then we'll see if it works out well. So it should be fine. Thank you for watching this programming segment. Sorry it wasn't longer, but programming segments usually take a lot. It's why I want to do as much of the plumbing of the programming stuff beforehand, but I couldn't get to it last time. So, as I said, if you don't do the plumbing beforehand, the infrastructural stuff, you don't get to the fun stuff, which is working on building stuff and working with the business logic. You're more just doing discovery on if it's possible to do these things. So, thanks for watching the programming. We will actually finish programming at some point on this channel. Swear to God.